Hey, Coach Perry, man, welcome to the podcast.
I appreciate you having me on, man. Like I said, I tune in as much as much as I can. Big fan of your podcast. Um, friends with some of the guys you've had on. Obviously, I know you had Coach Mays on. I used to work for Coach Mays, so big fan of what you do, man. Big fan of your podcast. So I'm excited. Anytime you get the opportunity to come in here and talk about your program, promote your kids, and promote the people around you. You want to do that. So I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the opportunity to go out to Eastern Kentucky about 2 years ago, and man, basketball in Eastern Kentucky is totally different than anywhere in the state of Kentucky. So, to be able to have you on, talk about your program, I just thought it was an excellent opportunity, to be able to get your kids out there, talk about you, your program. But before we get into this year's team, take us through your coaching journey. How did you get to Belfry, and what made this the right opportunity for you?
Yeah, man. So it's kind of I'm blessed. I'm thankful. I'm blessed. I'm grateful. For one, all the people that has helped me get to this point. So um, my coaching career started in 2018-19 season. My first job was I was assistant coach at Lynn Camp High School under legendary coach Dinky Phipps, Hall of Famer in the state of Kentucky, 11th in all-time wins in the state. So, he's who I played for. He was like a father figure to me. So he gave me my first gig, and I'll forever be indebted, to him for giving me that opportunity. So it started there. It was like I said, I was assistant there. I was still in college at the time. I just finished my playing career. I played, 2 years at the University of the Cumberlands. Was cut short due to injury. I had really weak ankles. My ankles are like glass, is what I tell everybody. Um, so I always knew I wanted to coach. I always knew I wanted to teach. So that was always on my mind. And Coach Phipps gave me the opportunity to join his staff in 2018-2019 season. So I was there for a year. Later on, after that year, I joined a really good staff at Knox Central High School, cross town. So Knox Central High School under Coach Tony Patterson. Was able we made a state tournament run, played in the Sweet 16. So that was one of the most enjoyable years of my coaching career. Like I tell people all the time, like you don't know what it's like playing in the Sweet 16 in the state of Kentucky. It's a different feeling. I was still young at the time, so to be able to experience that type of run and that type of team and be on that type of staff at such a young age was like super, super. I feel like important in my journey, and so like I said, I was on a coach on a really good team, got to coach really good players. Actually, Coach Davis, who you had on last night, that's when I met him. We had a kid there. He was a really good player, at the time, and they kind of reached out about him. That's where I formed a relationship with Coach Davis. So I was there for a year, and then after that, I graduated college. So started my teaching career, and I started my teaching career at my alma mater, which is Barberville High School, very small school, it's an all A school, right next in the middle between Corbin and Pineville. So I was a teacher there, special education teacher there for 2 years, and I joined the staff there. So that was kind of cool, to just kind of coach at my alma mater. Obviously, every coach, I feel like in America would tell you that their alma mater means something to them, and that place will always hold a special place in my heart. So to be able to coach there was something special. So I was a coach there 2 years, and what people don't know kind of about my journey is just the year I was on the staff at Knox Central, we played the Ashland Tomcats in the first round of the Sweet 16. At that time, Coach Jason Mays was still at Ashland. He was on an incredible run. They had like a 3-year run. He actually undefeated season the COVID year, so they were on an unbelievable run there. And we played them the first round of the Sweet 16, and that's where I actually got to have my first conversation with Coach Mays. Was just picking his brain about stuff there. So after 2 years at Barberville, Coach Mays accepted the Montgomery County job. So as soon as he accepted that job, he kind of, reached out to see if I had interest, to come, join his staff there. And, me personally, I'm biased, but I think he's one of the best coaches in the state. Obviously, he's not coaching right now, but I think when he was doing it and at that time, like I thought he was one of the best coaches in the state. So I thought for my development and my growth as a coach, like it was a no brainer to go join his staff at the time. So it's a big move for me. Obviously, I in my hometown, I'm coaching at my alma mater. Um, it's what I've known, what I know my whole life. So to jump ship and move all the way to Mount Sterling and join the Montgomery County staff was a big move for me. But I know I wanted to do this, and I wanted to do this at a high level, and I wanted to have my own program one day. And to go coach under Coach Mays, I knew that would be something that would put me in that direction. So um, joined his staff at Montgomery County. I'm there a year. We had a really good thing going, and to be honest, like when I accepted, to be on his staff, I expected to be there, 2 to 3 years, maybe 4 to 5. Like I didn't really have a timetable on, when I wanted to become a head coach. I hadn't really thought about it. Knew it was, my dreams and aspirations, but hadn't really thought about it. I'm still learning. I'm still learning today, but like at that time, like I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn, what it takes to, build a program and, all aspects of it. So learning under him was, probably the reason I'm sitting here talking to you, to be honest, because that year was, a year of growth for me, and it was a huge year, and I learned a lot, and the after that year, something I didn't expect, but the Belfry job come open. I had mutual friends here, and Coach Mark Thompson was a coach here for multiple years, who's now the assistant principal here, and we had mutual friends, and like I said, the job come open, and we got to connect a little bit and talk about it. And, I think, for a first job, like when I was offered the job, like I think it's a no brainer. And I thought it was a no brainer. And the reason being is because you think of Belfry High School, like you might not think basketball. You obviously probably think football, granted. So, I mean, then when Belfry football's got 8 state championships. But like the important thing for me, like when looking at this job, was like, this is a place that wins. This is a place that has a culture. This is a place that has a foundation. This is where you go to win, whether that's football, basketball, or whatever the case may be. Like there's a winning culture here, and I think that's important. And I tell coaches younger than me now, I'm like, when you get, I have a coach that's on my staff that has aspirations to be a head coach one day, and I tell him all the time, I'm like, when you're looking at your first job, like you want to go somewhere that has a winning culture. They may not be winning now, but like somewhere that has experienced winning. People in that community, people in that administration, they know what that looks like. Don't matter the sport, don't matter football, baseball, basketball, whatever the case may be, but people in that community, they know what winning looks like. So,
Absolutely.
so when the Belfry job come about, and like I said, I was offered the job, like it was a no brainer. I was like, this is a great first job for me, and I might be here, the rest of my coaching career. I have no aspirations to leave or anything like that, but like this is a great job. There's great people here. My administration is phenomenal. My parents are phenomenal. My kids are respectable kids, and like I said, this place is known for winning. You come here to win, and you want to be held to that expectation. And for a first job, like this felt right. And then up until this, right here, we're sitting talking to you. Like I'm thankful, I'm grateful, and I love doing what I do, and I love where I'm at.
Yeah, absolutely. Coach Brian Davis is actually joining us. He's viewing.
Yeah.
When you first took over the program, what did you believe needed to change or improve?
I think like the basketball at the time, like it has experienced some rough years. When I first got here, and I think first and foremost, like when I got here, like I wanted to lay a foundation of like what's expected every single day, not every now and then, not every once a week, twice. I want it like an everyday thing. You got to set a foundation, and you got to build your culture each day at a time. And like I said, when I first got here, it wasn't in a great spot. It had experienced some rough years, a rough couple of years. But I firmly believe, like, no matter what kind of shape a program's in, like, if you come in with good intentions, set your expectations high, do it on a daily basis, like, you're going to see results eventually. And that's kind of what we've done here. And we're back to basketball's in a good spot here. Like I said, we got good kids. I got great coaches around me. I got people in my circle that I rely on every single day. It ain't been all sunshines and rainbows. We've had our ups and downs, but we've learned to battle through that and prosper through it. And like I said, like it's an everyday thing. Like it's an everyday thing. You got to approach each day the right way and have a good attitude about it and have good body language and work your tail off. And like I said, you'll see results eventually. And that's kind of what we're doing here. And I'm excited to keep this thing going, this train going. And so that's kind of what my mindset was coming in.
I see Randy Casey has joined us here. What's up,
Yeah,
Coach Casey? Um, you guys went from an 8-win season to winning 21 games last season. What changed within the program to allow you guys to make that kind of jump?
I think just the mindset of not only our kids, but I think it starts with everybody. I think it starts with me, and then I think it goes down the totem pole. Like our coaches have the same mindset, our kids have the same mindset, our parents have the same mindset, our administration has the same mindset, and everybody is just looking up in this one circle that we're going to get this right. We're going to work our tails off. We're going to do whatever we can to put this program in a position to succeed. And I think if you continue that on a daily basis, like I said, you're going to see turnarounds like that. Like I said, our first season here, we won 8 games. But I think that year, I look back at it all the time. I look back at it today. I was actually watching film today from our first scrimmage that I had here as a head coach, and I look back at that and I'm like, man, like we've came a long way. But like that's just because we work hard. We live, sleep, and breathe like working hard, and that's what our standard is here. You're going to come here and you're going to work hard, and you're going to get results from it. So looking back at that, it's just and like you said, we won 8 games. Like you can look at that and be like, man, like they were trash. Like I should have been fired after one year. But anybody around this area and everybody that knows, within our program knows that from that year, you could tell like a shift in what we were becoming and what we were going to be and how hard we were working. Like we were, I look at that year and I had multiple people come, during the season, after the season, like, man, like y'all gonna be all right. Like y'all play hard. Like y'all gonna be all right. Just keep at it. Like that's exactly what we did. And like you said, we go from 8 wins to 21 wins. And building on this year, we want to go to 21. We want to go 26, 27 wins. Whether that happens or not, who knows? But we're going to shoot for it. We're going to shoot for the moon. We're going to shoot for the stars, and that's the way it's going to be. And the standard ain't going to change. And like I said, as long as you have the right mindset and good people in your circle, like that put your program and your kids and everybody involved in position to be successful, you're going to be all right.
How important is it to you to establish a culture, compared to just trying to win basketball games at Belfry?
Yeah, that's I one thing that I'll take from Coach Mays, and he says this all the time. I was watching his pod the other day because he started his own podcast. Is you never want to apologize for winning. Like you never want to apologize for winning. Like you want to win at whatever you do, whether that's basketball, whether that's life, whether it's just winning the day. Like have a good day. Like have a good attitude. Don't have a bad moment. And that's what we preach here. Like obviously the goal is to win as many games as you can, but we want to preach winning in life. Like we want you to, if your goals and aspirations is not to play college basketball, I want you to leave our program and I want you to get a job. I want you to get the job that you get. And you do that by, approaching each day the right way and have a good body language and having a good mindset. And, that's hard. That's hard for anybody. That's hard for me. That's hard for our staff. That's hard for everybody. And it's fighting over that battle. You fight. Sometimes you fight yourself. Like sometimes you got to kind of look yourself in the mirror and be like, man, like I ain't having a good day, but like I'm going to change my mindset about it. And that's kind of what we preach here. And it ain't all about wins and losses. Obviously, you want to win. You want to be the last team standing at the end of the day. But just having a winning mindset. With the day, like with what you're doing. Like it don't have to be basketball. It can be a board game for whatever sake. But like have a good attitude about it. Give it your all. And once you do that so many repetitive times, I feel like your mindset changes and it gives you a shift and a perspective that you didn't even probably know you had. And like I said, we do that daily. Like we have days where we don't even touch a basketball. We might go out and play football on the football field. we might go run around town, but like we're going to do it with a good attitude. And we're going to do it with a smile on our face. And like I said, like you preach that every day, repetitively, you're going to get results, and your kids are going to approach things the right way. So looking at that, it's just we do the best we can. Like I said, we don't always have good days. We don't always play our best. We don't always have the best practices. I don't always plan the best practices. I'll never coach a perfect game in my life, but I'm gonna give it my all. And that's the mindset I have. And that's the mindset I'm going to continue to have. And I think if you do that, like results will show.
Absolutely. Yeah, culture means means a lot more than just winning basketball games,
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, like, basketball is just a game, but you have young men there that you're trying to develop into like men. At the end of the day, basketball is going to stop bouncing. Like,
yeah.
what are you going to do after that? You're going to have a family, a job, provide, protect as a man. You were named the KABC 15th Region Coach of the Year last season. What did that recognition mean to you and your staff?
It meant the world, man. But like for me individually, like I'm be honest with you, like I hate that it's a one person award. To be honest, like obviously it says my name on the award, but like the credit I owe to my staff is first and foremost, and I wish I could put every single one of their names on the award because that's what it means. And to be honest, that's the way I look at it. Obviously it's a big honor, and I'm thankful. Like I said, I'm thankful and I'm grateful every single day to get to do what I do. But that award in general, like that should be a staff award because they work just as hard as I do, if not harder some days. So they put me in a good position. I do the same for them. So, um, but like that should be a staff award because, like I said, I owe them the world, man. So they keep me going. Hopefully, I keep them going, and our kids are thankful for them. I'm super thankful for them, and so obviously that was a great recognition for me, and my journey. This being my second year getting that award. Obviously, Coach Casey, me and Coach Casey's the only coaches in the school history to get that award. So that's an unbelievable honor, and I'm forever thankful for that. But that's hopefully that just shows how hard I'm trying to work, how hard how I'm trying to put these kids in position to succeed both on and off the court. But like I said, I owe my staff a ton of that credit. Coach Hurley, Coach Sean Hurley, Coach Cameron Works, Coach Logan Copley, and then Coach Aaron Rigdon that was with us last year, who's now the head coach at Bracken County. But those are unbelievable men, unbelievable people, unbelievable family men. So I owe them a lot of credit, and like I said, I'm forever in debt to those guys. And whether they're with me the rest of my coaching career, or whatever the case may be, like I'll always be grateful for those guys.
You have something every high school coach wants: experience. You're heading into the season with six seniors. How valuable is it having, that much senior leadership?
Oh, it's underrated, to be honest. Like it's underrated in our game. Like leadership goes, especially at the high school level, a long way. And all six of these guys, outside of two of them, have been with me this whole journey, the 3 years I've been here. So they know our system, they know our principles, they know what's expected, and they approach each day the right way. And I've been able to kind of, since I've been here, the 3 years I've been here, like teach them like how I want to play and what I expect and what our standard is and our expectations. And to see these guys coming in to be seniors is crazy because I felt like I just met them yesterday. Like this has flew by, man, and these guys are seniors now, which is crazy. So I can't wait to see them rock out their senior year, to be honest, because I know they're going to, and I know they're going to play hard and they're going to play the right way. And like you said, it's valuable, man. It's valuable, especially it might not be valuable the first game of the year, but when it gets winning time, and it's win or go home, like that matters. That leadership matters, and it's because it's almost like I got six coaches out there, to be honest with you, and they're all great kids, man. Like you said, we got six of them. They're all unbelievably great kids. Their parents are great people. They're raised the right way, and it's just like I said, I can't wait to see them rock out this year.
How much different is your team when you have those players who've already battled together at the varsity level?
Yeah, you've seen them. Like I've been able to see their ups and downs, man. Like I said, like this all ain't been sunshines and rainbows. We've had our ups and downs. We've seen dark times. We've seen good times. Like I said, like last year, like won the district championship. It's a great moment for us. But like we want to keep playing. Like we want to be the last team standing. So like you said, I've seen the highs and the lows, and to see them, go through that, and now them going into their senior year, it's been really cool to see. It's been fun to see. I've enjoyed coaching them. Like I said, they approach each day the right way. They work extremely hard. They know that you can't take a rep off. They know that you can't take a rep off. You can't take a drill off. You can't take a practice off. Um, and like you said, having six of those guys now in going in to play somebody, like that's underrated. Like that's everything. So, to see them kind of go to grow as human beings, not only as basketball players, but as human beings as well, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. And I hate I only got one more year with these guys, but, we're going to make it the best year they've had yet.
What does this group still need to improve on between now and the start of the season?
I don't, this summer we kind of battled some injuries from time to time. So I think we got to get healthy. We got to get healthy. We got to get some continuity there to where we're all in the gym, we're all healthy, we're all together. But like I don't want to say this team has a weakness. Every team has a weakness, but I think it's just we got to continue to grow. We got to get stronger. We got to get stronger. We got to maybe improve a little bit on the defensive end. I don't think you can ever be good enough on the defensive end on that side of the ball. So. On reps and drills and everything, we got to make sure we start to perfect things, especially on that end, and we're all on the same page. So, like I said, we got to continue to attack the weight room, attack our individual skill work, and get a little bit more continuity down heading into the season. Like I said, we battled some injuries as of late, still getting some guys healthy. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we get everybody on the roster back at it. Obviously not our football kids and things like that, but some of the guys that have battled injuries and didn't get to play this summer, getting back in the mix and getting some continuity down in the weight room, getting some continuity down in our individual skill stuff. So that's where we're at right now. And like I said, by the time the season comes around, we'll be ready.
Let's talk about some of your guys individually. Starting with senior Brody Little. What
Yeah.
does Brody bring to your team?
Brody's everything. We go as Brody go. I've always said that. Like Brody's an unbelievable player. He's an unbelievable young man. And then he's starting to get results for how hard he works. Like he's picking up some college offers. He's got some interest from multiple schools. But the thing about Brody is, and I tell coaches every day that ask about him. It's like you're going to get somebody that works their tail off. Like he approaches each day the right way, and he's going to give you every single thing he's got. He's super competitive, and that's one thing I love about him. And he's got a lot of fire in him. You can watch his highlight film for 4 minutes long, and you're like, this kid's got fire to it. And that's the thing I love about him the most. And I'll never, take that away from him. I'll always let him be the player he is. And like I said, the results are starting to, show. He's getting interest from multiple schools, and when the time comes, like he'll get to make a decision. His dreams and aspirations to be a collegiate basketball player, and he's going to get the opportunity to do that. But like I said, we go as Brody goes, and Brody knows that, and he knows what the standard is. And is he perfect every single day? Obviously not. He knows when he has bad days and good days, but he knows what the standard is and knows what's expected. And I'm thankful to be able to coach him. This is going in my third year coaching him, and maybe in the 8 years I've done this, like I've never seen a kid that works as hard as he does. And like I said, that's a blessing to get to coach that and to see that every day, and to see him grow over the last 3 years has been remarkable. And seeing, like I said, his results pay off is awesome. Like I try to go on every visit that I have been on, every visit that he's been invited to. I go with him because I want to be a part of his journey, because he's a part of mine. And I'll forever be in debt to Brody, just because he went to Belfry Middle School, and Decided to go somewhere else his first year of high school. And then, when I got the job here, he came back. So um, he's an unbelievable, like I say, he's an unbelievable young man, the unbelievable player. And, I'm excited, for his senior year and, to see, him get his flowers.
How have you seen his game mature since you took over the program?
Yeah, like when I first got here, there's still obviously things we work on every single day, but it was just simplifying things for him. Um, Kind of when I got here, like he was young at the time, so it obviously expected. He was kind of sped up a little bit, but just simplifying things, like seeing him, see the game, see different reads, and that's took a lot of us just breaking down film individually and just showing it. And like I said, he was a great player here when I first got here, and he continues to get better every single day. And like I said, it was, for him, it was just kind of simplifying things. And, to see him do that over time, he continues to get better. And, the sky's the limit for him. And like I said, he's going to be some program someday is going to get us, a really good player.
What are his biggest strengths right now? I remember coming out to Eastern Kentucky, like, you know, we know he's an athlete. I really liked his mid-range jump shot,
Yeah.
his attack game. The only thing I've seen out of Brody was his consistency.
Mhm.
He could have a big game, and then the next game, he was young then, so it's more understandable. But
Right.
have big game, and then the next game maybe not show up.
Yeah. And that's one of the things like we worked on is just being consistent. And I think that starts like personally for me, like other coaches may think different. I think that's just everyday habits. Like approach practice the right way, approach school the right way. Just be consistent in whatever you do. And obviously, like we're talking about basketball games here, but like if you're consistent in whatever you do, like it'll translate every single day. And like for him, it's like you said, just being more consistent. And as he's gotten older, you see that in his game. But like his biggest strength is like when he gets downhill, he's super athletic, like you said, super crafty around the rim. Um, like you referred to, he loves his pull up jumpers that I had to adjust to. And we talked on the phone yesterday, like that's his game. Like that's what he's best at. So why would I try to get him to do something else if that's what he's good at? That's where he's his best is being able to take guys off the dribble, and he's got a super smooth pull up. And like I said, like when he gets downhill, he's virtually unstoppable at the at our high school level. And he's gotten stronger, and he's getting more athletic. So like I said, his body's matured over the 3 years I've been here, and things that might not have been easy 3 years ago is becoming easy for him. So like he's got to continue to work. You can always get better. Um, and like I said, like he's super coachable. Even in some of the drills that we push him to his limits sometimes, and that only is going to better him for the future. So to see him get better and attack each day the right way, and he's like I said, he's going to continue to get better.
What kind of role do will he have this year as a senior for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say this because we got six of them, but like he's going to be a leader for us. He's going to be our engine, on offense and defense. Like I think Brody individually, like I think when he locks in, he wants to be. He could be our best defender sometimes. Now some games that might not be the case, but like when he wants to lock down, like he's our anchor down there. Like he sets the tone. Like our backcourt, and I'm really grateful for this. Our backcourt, I personally think, and I may be biased, but like I think we have the best defensive backcourt in the region. I really do. I firmly believe that, and that's just from them buying in when I first got here. Like obviously we have principles. Not every coach has defensive principles, but we have defensive principles that we live and die by every single day. And it's not your ordinary way to play, but it's hard, and it's took 3 years to get to this point. But like you see it in the results that they have. But with Brody especially, like he's a really, really, really good defensive player, and I think for him, that's kind of where his offensive game gets going is when he sets the tone defensively. It frees him up more offensively and kind of gets him. We get to get out and play a little bit faster, which suits Brody. So, that's kind of where he sets the tone for him.
For college coaches that may have not watched him or got the chance to see him, what do you think they need to know about Brody?
Like like I said this earlier, like you're getting a humble kid. You're getting a kid that wants to get better every single day. That loves basketball. Um, he works his tail off. He's a great student. He's a great son. His parents are great people. But like you're getting a kid that you're getting a competitor for one. You're getting a really 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 good competitor that if he's got to beat this guy out of a spot, he's going to do whatever he can in his power to beat that guy, and he ain't going to sleep until he does it. And that's the thing about Brody I love the most is he just competes. He competes his tail. He competes his tail off every single day. Um, and he's like I said, he's a humble kid. He's a hard worker. He's going to approach the right way. He's going to have. You're not going to have. He's going to yes sir, no sir, everything. He's going to approach practice the right way to get better, and that's what you're getting in him. And like I said, some program, at the end of this high school journey for him is going to get a steal because he's a great kid, and he's going to do whatever he can to, help his team win. And that's the thing about him is like, it don't matter if he scores 20 points or 2 points. Like if you win, like he's happy. You won't see him put his head down. You won't see him, um, you know, be down on himself. Like if you're winning, like that's all he cares about, And for us, like obviously Brody's got to be big for us, and he's got to bring it every single night. But if we're winning games, and he ain't, he had 4 points or 6 points, but he had 7 assists or 8 assists, like, and we won, like he's gonna be happy. So you're getting a winner, you're getting a competitor, and you're getting a winner.
We spoke about this another senior, Bo Williams.
Yeah,
I think he's new to your program this year, right? Can
yeah.
you
No,
tell us a little
he
bit?
was with us last year.
Hey, what?
He was with us last year. He was new.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's he bring to the Belfry program?
Bo in the 2 years I've got here has probably shown the most improvement out of anybody. To be honest, I mean he's completely transformed his body. Um, he's dealing with a little shoulder injury right now, but he went to the doctor the other day and they measured him at 6'7". So he's grew since he's been here. When he got here, he's probably 6'6". So he's probably grew an inch since he's got here. Elite shooter. I mean, he's probably, in like I said, in the 8 years that I've coached, he may be the best shooter that I've coached. To be honest, when he gets hot, like it's a different type of heat. To be honest, and like I said, he's got elite footwork, and I think that's a lot of the reasons why he's a good shooter because he knows how to read screens and knows how to get his feet set, knows how to come off screens. Like he's got elite footwork. Like I said, and there's a need for that. At every college in America, 6'7" with a clip is rare to come by. So he's a great kid. Like I said, he lives, sleeps, breathes basketball. And it's been like that his whole life. Like I told you on the phone yesterday, his dad's a head coach of University of Pikeville Women's. So he's been around the game his whole life. His IQ is super high. He loves the game. He's got free time during the day. He's watching film. So he's going to be the reason that we win a lot of games this year. And, he knows that. And he's had a really good summer. And he had a really good AAU, summer. So I'm excited about him. And, like I said, like we mentioned about Brody is, a college program is going to get a steal on him too. Like he's kind of flying under the radar right now. His interest is kind of picked up, as of late. But he's going to help a college program out one day.
What makes him effective within the way you guys want to play? Because I know in Eastern Kentucky, like if you're 6'4" or up, most coaches out there want to put you in the post. But
Yeah,
if he's an elite shooter, like you're going to want to have him on the wing and in the backcourt. So
yeah,
how's he going to be effective for you guys?
yeah. And when he first got here, I knew what he was, and that's one thing about Bo. Bo knows what he is. He knows what he brings to the table. And his best attribute is his shooting. And so, for me personally, I like to get up and down. I like to play fast. I like to shoot a ton of threes, and Bo fits that well. So, we run a lot of NBA quick hitters. Like a lot of our offense is NBA quick hitters, and a lot of it's ran through him because he's such an elite shooter. So, like I said, any coach in America would love probably to have high school coach in America would love to have 6'7" because you put him in the post, and we do post both sometimes. He's got great footwork, but uses his pivots very well. But like for him, like I know what he does best, so I'm gonna put him in that position because I know what he can do, and I know what he can bring to the table, and I know he's an elite shooter, and I know that's what his game is, and I'm gonna put him in the best position to succeed. And for him, that's being out on the floor a little bit. So, like I said, if he needs to, like he's smart enough, his IQ's high enough, and he knows how to ring angles well enough and read the defense. Like if you want to play him in the mid post, you can. But for him, it's just putting him in a position to succeed, and that's most of the time out on the floor.
What level of college basketball do you believe he can eventually, impact?
I think for him, he's gonna go as far as he wants to go. And as in the 2 years that he's been here, he's kept his head down. He's worked. So I think by the end of this year, like I think Bo, could be looking at some D2, OVC top, colleges. So, but like I said, it's all dependent on like how hard he works and how he continues to approach each day. And like I said, his basketball journey is, going to go as far as he wants to take it. But he's got to keep his head down and keep working, and that's what he's done up until this point. So, for Bo, like I said, his interest has picked up as of late with some NAIAs. A D2, reached out to me 2 days ago about him. So, he continues to work. Like he's going to be able to play some big time college basketball.
Let's move on to your point guard, Carter Jude, senior. As
Yeah.
a coach, how important is it to have an experienced point guard running your team?
Oh my God. I can't. I could sit here and talk about Carter Jude all day, to be honest, because he was one of the first kids I met when I first got here. So the improvements he's shown over the last 2.5 years of it going to this third year is crazy, man. It is crazy because he has gotten so much better. It's Carter Jude is like legit. Like obviously this is a phrase, but like he's honestly like having a second coach out on the floor. He's super smart. He's super smart. Um, he can score if you need him to. Or I was looking today, like I was on huddle just watching film, and like I was telling Coach Works, coach on my staff earlier, I was like, we take for granted how many games last year Carter had like 16 and 7, 16 and 8 assists, like 16 points, 8 assists, or 20 and 6, or 20 and 8. Like we take for granted like how many games he had of that. Like he is a true leader. He's a true floor general, and he's just continued to get better. Like Carter Judy's going to finish. Like I don't know if a lot of people know this. Like he's going to finish like probably top 5, top 4, maybe top 3. Scorer in Belfry high school history, which goes underrated about his game. Like he started ever since he was a freshman. I know he was. I got here, when he was a sophomore, but I know he started his freshman year, and he's gotten better every single year. And like Brody, like I said, like he's a defensive anchor. Like he can guard you the whole length of the floor if he wants to. And there was times last year like we would put him on other teams' best player, and he would take care of them. So it's been awesome to see his growth, and I'm excited for him. And like I said, I can't talk about enough. Like he's an unbelievable kid. Like this summer, he wasn't with us the second half of the summer because he was at Governor Scholar Program at center. He was one of the few kids that get the opportunity to do that, and like I said, at the Governor Scholar Program for 6 weeks. Which is awesome, like a huge like accomplishment. So, Carter Jude does it on and off the floor. He's a great kid. He works his tail off, and he's super competitive too. Like having that competitive backcourt is, taken for granted sometimes. Like those dudes get after it, like, and they're brothers, after the fact. But like to have, him, as our point guard is, I can't even put into words what that means.
When you need someone to like control the pace of the game or like settle your guys down,
Yeah,
is Carter, a guy you trust to do that?
for sure, 100%, 100%. And that first year was a lot of me and Carter getting on that same page together. And it took a year, and now, like, we're at the point now where, like, I trust Carter to do anything. Like, I've gave him the keys, and he's going to put our team, the guys that's out there on the floor, whether it's the starting five, whether it's the bench, whoever's on the court with him, like, he's going to put them in position, and that's what you want out of your point guard. And like I said, for Carter, like, I actually had this conversation today. If Carter G wants to play college basketball, the opportunity is going to be there. It is, and I don't know. We'll get to that conversation with Carter, when it gets that time. But like Carter Jude is, he would be a steal for a program one day. But like obviously, like that's a conversation for another day. With Carter, and I'm gonna, if that's something he wants to pursue, like that opportunity is going to be there. But referring to your question, like I absolutely trust Carter Jude. He's a blessing to coach. He's fun to coach. Like I said, he's competitive, but like he's going to put the other four dudes that's out there with him like in position to succeed. And that's why it shows. It shows in his stats. Like he's 40% from the 3-point line. He's averaging over 7 assists a game, and if it's 15, 16 points a game, like what more could you ask out of him?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about a younger player that has a chance to become, really interesting. He's a prospect, 6'8", Jackson Pack.
Yeah,
You can't teach 6'8".
you
Like
can't.
what excites you about Jackson's potential?
Oh my gosh, like the this summer probably nobody showed more growth from where they were when the season ended till now than Jackson Pack. He's gotten stronger. He's learned how to use his body better, and he played with Kentuckiana on the Puma circuit and was averaging a double double. There was a game this summer. I think he went up against one of the best bigs in his class. I think in Ohio or Indiana or somewhere, and he had 16 rebounds. So he kind of took that personal. So he's competitive. He's fiery. He's the sky's the limit for him, and he's still got a long way to go, and he knows that. And, that all comes with work, and obviously him going into his junior year, like he's still got 2 years of high school left. But like I said, the sky's the limit for him. Like if he's got a real chance to play big time college basketball one day if he stays on the course that he's on. So like you said, you can't teach 6'8", but you got to also know how to use your body and have the ability to move people if you get the chance to. And he's learning to do that, and he's learning to do his pivot. He's learning, we work on his pivots every single day, and he battled a little injury, as of late, and he's kind of recovering from that right now. But he should be good in a week or two. But the sky's the limit for him. I'm super excited about it. I've had a ball. Like he joined us last year. I had a ball coaching him, and I can't wait to continue to coach him because he's a kid that wants to get better. And there was multiple times last season, even before the season, whether it was before, during, or after, he was texting me, Coach, can I get in the gym before school? Coach, can I get in the gym before school? Like I'm gonna work on my ball handling. I'm gonna do an hour of ball handling. I'm gonna do an hour of working on my pivots. I'm gonna go in and make 100 free throws. So he wants to get better, and the work he shows outside of just what we do as a program is a testament to the kid he is, and to the level that he's eventually going to be able to play at. But like you said, he's 6'8", and he might be still growing for all I know because he's just going into his junior year. But I'm excited for him, and like I said, I'm excited to coach him. And he's a great kid, and he's super coachable, and he's going to be a big part for our team this year.
Is he more of a traditional post right now, or you trying to develop him to be more of a versatile
Yeah, right
guy?
now, I mean, he's strictly a five for us, but he has soft touch. He has great form. Honestly, we was talking. It's funny you say that. We were talking in practice one day last year. We was talking about how good his form is. So I think eventually, and even some right now, like he can stretch if he needs to. He's an underrated part about his game is how he can operate out of the top of the key and into some DHOs and some screen and pops. So you can use Jackson a bunch of different ways, and that's fun as a coach because you get to sit here and dial up a bunch of stuff. But for us, like he's a traditional post, but like I said, like he's learning. Like, and I could see him like being a stretch for us. And like I said, he's got good form and good touch around the rim. I think an underrated part about his game is how he can handle the ball a little bit. So you can use him in multiple different ways. So um, it's fun to experience with and experiment with, and I'm excited about it.
With 2 more years to develop, what do you believe his ceiling can be?
Oh, I think to be honest with you, and this is me talking, and I don't want to put a level on what he could be, but like I think he could play some major college basketball. I really do. I think he can get to a level not a lot of kids in this area is seen. But that comes with work, and that comes with having the right attitude about things. And so far, Jackson has, and I fully expect him to continue. And he's another one of our kids that is very, 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 very serious about his academics, and he knows what he wants to do when he grows up. And he does want to be a collegiate player, and he knows what that looks like and what it's going to take to get there. So, but me personally, I think that he could play some serious college basketball one day.
What would you tell college coaches who are beginning to put together their 2028 recruiting boards about Jackson Pack?
I would make sure that his name is on there for one, because like I said, like he's going to continue to get better. Um, his attributes are going to continue to sharpen. Um, his footwork's going to get better. He's going to continue to get stronger. We had a really good lift today before I hopped on this. Like he don't he's not the kid to skip reps. Like if anything he's going to do more than you ask, just because that's the way he is. But if I was putting a list together of 2028s, especially in the state of Kentucky, like he's on it. And I think he made a name for himself, on a Puma circuit this summer, because I had some coaches that I didn't even know was DMing me on Twitter like, "Hey, I know you're Jackson Pack's head high school coach. Just wanted you to know I put his name down." So I'm excited about it. Like I said, this summer was a really big leap for him, and he's going to have to continue to make leaps to get to the level that I think he personally can get at. But I believe in him. I believe in his work ethic, and I'm excited for him.
We've talked about Brody, Bo, Carter, and Jackson, but who are some other guys on the roster that people need to know about coming this
Yeah.
season?
So one of our glue guys, and may have had the best, was playing at his best and had a run of games at the end of our season last year that was incredible, is Bryce Hagee. Like he's another guy that sets the tone for us. He sets the tone for us, and he's a senior as well. Sets the tone for us defensively. Um, he's super long. He's 6'4", maybe 6'5", super long, um, athletic, and his dad is a head baseball coach here, so he's been around coaching his whole life. Super coachable kid, super respectable, and he's just he's a force for us. And like I said, he had a stretch of games at the end of the season for us that was, I don't know if we win if he don't play the way he did. Like he was putting up, he was giving us 15 and 10 a night, 15 and 8, 15-9. Like, um, he was really, really, starting, and he had a good year all around. But those last strain of games, like he was really good for us, and played really well in the district championship for us. And I don't know if that trophy sitting in our trophy case, if he didn't come to play that night. Like that's how much he means to our team, and he knows how much he means to our team. And he's also a kid that was, one of the first kids I met here, so he buys into our principles, and um, he's a leader for us. And he sometimes he's not the most vocal leader, but like he leads in like his play. He leads in how hard he plays. He leads in different ways that might not be just vocally. And that's the thing for Bryce is, like and I said this about Brody too, but like this is also, I can also attain this to Bryce, is like we go as Bryce goes. Like if Bryce is bringing it, like it's a different type of boost for our team. He knows that, and um, I expect a really big senior year out of him. So another guy on our team is Colton Young. Colton Young is a force for us. He's probably the strongest guy on our team. He's 6'5", super athletic. Um, great kid. Had some big moments for us last year. Another senior. I've noticed, as of late, like especially like today, like with some of our freshmen, like he was taking up with them, like just trying to teach them stuff and that's cool to see. Like teach our principals. Like it don't always have to come from me or the other coaches. And that's the main thing about Colton Young is he's super vocal. Me and him butt heads sometimes, but that's part of it. I respect him and he respects me. That's why we have such a good relationship. So he's also going to be the reason like we win some games. It's just because his effort, and how hard he plays, and um, when his energy's high, the whole team's energy's high. And he's one of those guys that when he's got low energy, like it affects everybody. It affects our staff. It affects me. It affects our team. And that's the thing about Colton is because how vocal he is. Like we know when Colton's not having a good day or Colton's having a good day. And like the thing for him is just be consistent and having good days. Give me your best every day, and that's what I preach to him, and that's what he's brought up until this point. And like I said, I'm excited about him. And then we got some young guys that's sophomores that were freshmen last year that's going into their sophomore year that's going to help us like on a varsity level. That's the thing about our team is like obviously we have six seniors, but I think personally we could go 8, 9 deep. Like I really do. I think some of these sophomores um, that are coming up, like they got a chance to play some real varsity minutes. And that's Ashton Evans and Gabe Barney. Gabe Barney's he's going to be QB1 for our football team, so we won't get him till December. But he's a really really good basketball player. So um, there's a ton of potential there. And like I said, for Ashton Evans, like I'm about to go out here as soon as we hop this podcast. He plays soccer, and I'm gonna watch his soccer game because, like I said, I want to see my kids excel. And these kids mean more to me than just basketball. So for Ashton, like he had a really really good summer. He started a lot of games for us this summer because we had some guys hurt and battling some stuff. But he's going to be a big part of our team. Those sophomores are going to be a big part of our team, and they understand that. And, I'm excited, man. Like I said, our team, like I firmly believe, like obviously there's a long way till December, but I think we could go 8 or 9 deep. I really do. Now whether that's the case, I don't know. Like that time will tell with that. But personally, just sitting here thinking, look at our team and look at our rosters, like we could go pretty deep.
What do you think could ultimately be the biggest strength of your team this year? I mean, it sounds like you have size, but what do you think would be the ultimate strength?
I think just maturity, to be honest. I think maturity, like when we went, we rephrased this a lot during this podcast. It's like having six seniors is big. Like it's go time now. Like this is your last run. Like you gotta give this everything you got. Like you gotta be super coachable. Your body language has got to be good. Like there ain't no bad days here. Like obviously that's easy to say, but like you don't have time to have a bad day. Like this is your goal. Like you got 30 games left, including the postseason, and then it's off to the real world. So, and these guys know that, and that's the thing. That's why I say that's probably our biggest strength is like we're mature. Like these guys are mature, and they know what it takes, and they want to see they want to put together a run that this school and this community hasn't seen in a very long time. Now our team has a chance to do that. Now whether that happens or not, on me, on our staff, on our kids, on our parents, like there's a lot that ties into this. This ain't just X and O's, for us. And anybody that tries to run a good program knows like it takes a village. It takes your staff being on top of things on a daily basis. It takes your players having the right attitudes. It takes your parents having the right attitudes. And it's just this is a village. My administration has been great. They back me in whatever I do. So they're a big part of it. So this is a village. And for us, like having six seniors, like maturity is at the top of our strengths. And we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that stays a strength.
I want to broaden the conversation just for a little bit because I think it's very important. Eastern Kentucky's always had a unique basketball culture.
Yeah.
What makes basketball in Eastern Kentucky different than the rest of the state?
That's a good question, man. To be honest, and it's easy to say this because I'm here and I'm from here, and I've seen it at its peak. But like, I don't think you get any better basketball than mountain basketball. Like the players that have come through, the mountains over the years is remarkable. And to be a part of that, and to coach in what you would call the mountains, and Eastern Kentucky basketball, it's different here. It's different here. It's like you're playing for your life here almost, just because so many people support it, man. We're saying you're talking about high school basketball, but like that's the way it is here, man. Like that's the fun in it. That's the love in it. It's just like basketball and sports in general just like mean so much. Just there's so many people here, and it's just like you're playing for a community, man. You're playing for something. Like you're not playing for yourself. You're not playing for mom and dad. You're playing for your team. You're playing for your community. You're playing for your school. Like obviously that ties into playing for yourself and playing for the people around you. And, you know, the results will show, but like it's different here, man. It means more. It means more, and it's fun to like I said, I was fortunate enough to be on a state tournament team, and to see the community rally, around those kids and around our program was just like a feeling that I have hard time to describe. Now, I was young at the time, so I was just kind of getting my feet wet, coaching then. So that's my second year coaching. So that, like I said, that's a big part of my journey that I'll look back on one day and be like, that was important for me, just to feel that moment and see that, and see how a community can just rally. And that's the beauty in Eastern Kentucky basketball. And there's, like I said, there's good players here. There's great coaches here, um, and it's fun, man. And like I said, like going into year three, like I'm thankful to be part of it. I'm grateful, and I'm gonna continue to work my tail off. To hopefully get my name in those ranks one day.
Do you believe Eastern Kentucky players get overlooked more than players out of Louisville, Lexington,
For
the
sure,
bigger areas?
for sure. I actually was talking to the coach today, and I was giving him some names of our guys, and he was like, man, he's like, I love recruit Kentucky because he's like, I think a lot of kids fly under the radar. He's like, especially Eastern Kentucky. He's like, there's some hidden gems, man, that like no coaches know about. I do my best. Like I take a time out of my day, usually an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, and sometimes I do it on a weekend. It don't even have to be a weekday, but I try to take a time out of my day to contact coaches, keep them involved. I probably get on their nerves sometimes, just to be honest, but like I'm doing whatever I can to keep my kids' names in their head, because for one, I know they can impact the program. And I'm not just putting their names out there because that's my job. I'm doing that because I care about my kids, and I care about watching them succeed. And, so I try to keep their names in college coaches' head all the time. And I take a time out of my day to do that at least once a day, if not sometimes twice a day. But there's so many kids, man, in Eastern Kentucky that just fly under the radar that could be college basketball players that don't always get there. So when I got a head job, that was one of the big things for me is like there will not be a year like if I have kids that have aspirations of playing college basketball, like I'm gonna do whatever I can to make sure they get there.
The 15th region, it's produced some great teams and great players over the years. What makes it difficult winning in that region? What makes it so difficult?
I mean, like you just said, like there's good players here, man. Like there's players in our region right now that can play high level college basketball if they wanted to. And like our region has good coaches as well, man. Like we got coaches in our region that's been to multiple state tournaments. Like not a lot of regions can say that, man. Like Coach Tommy McKenzie from one at Johnson Central, multiple state tournaments. So we got it's fun because like I refer to, like this is mountain basketball, and this is what you make it, man. And there's people that will rally behind you if you can get your program to where it needs to be, and that's what we're working towards each day. The ultimate goal is to win region championships, to play in the Sweet 16. Like not a lot of other states like have like a traditional Sweet 16 like we have. So it's awesome, man, to be able to experience that. And that's what we're trying to do here at Belfry is get there because I want our kids to experience that. I want our school, I want our community, I want our parents to, our kids to be able to experience that. That comes with a lot of hard work. It don't just happen off talent. Like you gotta have continuity. You gotta have good people around. You gotta have good coaches. You gotta have like this is a village, like I said earlier, and results. It ain't always easy. So, um, we embrace the hard, and we're going to continue to embrace the hard, and hopefully one day that'll pay off, and we'll be playing in Rupp Arena.
Who do you expect to be some of the toughest teams that you guys are going to face in the 15th?
Obviously, Johnson Central, coming off a Sweet 16, like they bring almost everybody back, so they're going to be a problem to deal with. Martin County, obviously, always very good. Pikeville's resume speaks for itself. Lawrence County Coach Chandler Thompson does a phenomenal job. Our district, rival, Pike Central, Coach Al Holland, top 10 in wins all time, and the state's history. So to be able to play him multiple times a year is an honor. So, there's some really good teams in our region this year, but we're up there too. Like we're up there too, and people need to recognize that. And I'm gonna go to battle for my guys and my coaches and my school, and we're gonna continue to work our tails off. And we want the right to be in those conversations, but that comes with work, and you gotta prove, you gotta have results. You gotta have results, and that's gotta be wins. And then so um, we're gonna continue to try to trend upward, and hopefully we get in those conversations.
What will it take for this group to put itself in position for a long or deep, serious postseason run?
Yeah, I think obviously a lot of things can tie into that. Health is wealth. You got to stay healthy. You got to take care of your bodies. We practice extremely hard, so I make sure like as a staff, like we stay after to make sure like kids that need treatment get treatment because health is wealth. You got to be healthy. When the postseason comes around, and that's that I've seen teams that could have won region championships or competed for Sweet 16s, but they weren't healthy when the time came. So gotta stay healthy. Gotta like I said, you can't have setbacks. Obviously, you'll have ups and downs. You'll lose games you should have won, and you'll win some games that you probably shouldn't have won. But you got to continue. You got to be consistent with whatever you're doing. And as long as we stay consistent and we trend upward, and we're building on maybe losses or bad practices or bad film sessions. As long as we build on those those types of things, like you're always going to put yourself in a good position when the postseason comes around. And that's just buying in, man. That's the buy-in. That's part of it. You got to buy in. You got to buy in as coaches. Like obviously, like and I said this earlier. Like I owe a lot of my coaches, but they work hard, man. Like we spend hours and hours of watching film and building scouting reports, and our school lets us pay for a college top software that we do our scouts on. So we take it serious, man. Like it's 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 a daily thing here. It's a daily consistency is a daily thing here, and I'm gonna work as hard as I possibly can, and I respect that result in our kids. So for us to get on a postseason run, and I think it's just all about buy-in. It's buy-in and practice. It's buy-in and body, your treatment. It's buy-in and film. It's buy-in and being a good teammate, being a good son. It's a lot of things, but as long as you buy into the standard you hold yourself to, and what we expect out of you here, playing for Belfry basketball, it's results will show.
Let's finish with some quick ones.
Okay.
Best quality of your team.
Best quality of our team. For me, I'm going to say this because I'm a coach. They're super coachable. They're super coachable. I don't have any problems with negativity. We don't allow negativity within our program, and they're super coachable and they're fun to coach. That's probably the biggest trait our group has is they're coachable. They listen, they learn, and that's a lot. That goes a long way in today's world. So they're fun to coach. They're super coachable. They're super respectable, and that's I would say as their coach, that's the best thing about
Most competitive in practice.
Most competitive in practice. It's a tie, man. It's a tie between Brody and Carter. And that's awesome to say for me because that's my backcourt. So having them be the most competitive guys in practice is fun to see, and it's fun to watch. So definitely it's a tie between them.
Player who has improved the most.
Bryce Hagee, Bryce Hagee, no doubt. Bryce Hagee is, like I said, like towards the end of last year, like he took his game to another level, and I expect a huge year out of him.
Best shooter.
Bo Williams, Bo Williams is an elite shooter.
Best defender.
Whew, best defender, and that's hard, man. Just because like I'm not gonna say it's a different guy every night, but like there is three different guys on our team that I would trust guarding another team's best player, and that's Bryce Hagee, Brody Little, and Carter Jude. There was times last year that Carter took the best guy on another team. There was times Brody took the best player on another team, and then there was guys that maybe had a little bit more size that Bryce would take. So I don't like doing ties, but like, I'm gonna do a tie again because, like I said, like any given night, those three guys could be our best defenders. So I would be doing our team me for one a disservice if I didn't say at least those three guys because they're really good defenders, and that really just comes from like when I first got here is like buying into how I want to guard and our principles. So and now they've been doing it going into year three, and they're all really good defenders. So, yeah, I'm going to say, those three.
Toughest gym to play in around Eastern Kentucky.
Good question. I think there's a couple. I think Memorial at Hazard is a very tough gym to play in, but it's a fun gym to play in. Like the history there, um, it's awesome to play there. So we're actually going to Hazard this year, so that'd be a fun game to play. And I think obviously your district games on the road are always tough environments. So going to Phelps is you're always going to you're always going to get their best. Playing Pike Central at Pike Central, you're always going to get their best. So playing on the road district games, and then the first one, like I said, first one come to mind was Memorial. Because there's history there, and it's fun to play there, but it's also tough to play there. So those three for sure.
One word that describes Eastern Kentucky basketball.
History, history. There's so much history here, man. Whether that's players, whether that's coaches, whether that's teams. Um, even here at Belfry High School, like they had a run in the '90s where they won 3 straight regions. Like there's history here. So that's the first word that comes to mind. It's just history because you can sit here and just name so many great players and so many great teams and so many great coaches. So there's history here.
One word that describes Belfry basketball.
Standard, and that's just I think that's the first word that comes to mind is because it's a daily buy-in to the standard we try to preach. So that's what comes to mind for me is just always having that standard for coaches, players, parents, whoever the case may be, and just make sure everybody's on the same page. But you always want to hold yourself to the highest standard, and you want to get the best results out of your coaches and your players. And like I said, if you do that on a daily basis, your program's going to be in great shape.
Coach, before we get out of here, what would make the 2026-27 season a successful season for you guys?
I think that mm, for us, like with the group we have and the players we have and the staff we have around them and the administration, obviously, like I said, um, we want to be the last team standing in the 15th. We want to bring another region championship here to Belfry, and it's been a long drought. It's been a long, long drought, but I feel like our program's in a good spot right now. And, as long as our players continue to approach each day the right way and play for each other and play together and want to see each other's success, then I think we got a good shot. To attack this year with the our best. And I think if we do that, like we're gonna have a chance. Obviously, that's high expectations, but that's okay. Like that's what we want here is we want to keep it. We want our expectations to be high. and then once we reach a certain level, we want them to be even higher. So um, and that's a daily thing. That's a daily process and a daily buy-in, and that's what we're going to try to do.
And finally, what message do you have for the Belfry community and the Pirate fans about this group of guys you have?
Yeah, just I can't thank our fans and our community enough. They've in the 3 years I've been here, they've continued to support me and support our program, and show up to our games. Like last year was our highest attendance rated games in a very long time. So we want them to keep coming out, keep supporting these guys, and they're going to continue to keep working hard for like I said, like that's the thing about Eastern Kentucky sports is like you're playing for not only like the name on the front of your jersey. Like obviously you're playing for that, but you're playing for a community that backs you as well, and that means something, and that's got to mean something. That when you walk into practice every day, it's got to mean something to come in here and put on a Belfry basketball jersey to represent this community and to represent this school. So I asked them to just keep supporting us, and we're going to continue to work hard.
Coach Perry, I appreciate you taking the time to join us tonight and talk Belfry basketball. Man, you guys have some interesting prospects on your roster.
Yeah,
You're led by an experienced group with Brody Little, Bo Williams, Carter Jude, but you also have the 6'8" prospect in Jackson Pack. I'll be watching Belfry throughout the season, continue to spotlight basketball throughout Eastern Kentucky. This has been another episode of the Pure Prospects podcast. Make sure you follow, subscribe, and stay locked in with Pure Prospects. And, Coach, I appreciate you for coming on.
I appreciate you having me on, man. I really do. Like I said, I appreciate everything you do, and I'm excited to stay in touch.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
I appreciate you, man.